Hi, fellow traders. I hope everybody had a great day today. Our day was just as slow and boring as all the other days for the last several weeks, right up until earnings. Yesterday, we tried to, ramp it up with the earnings trade as well, but that one just kind of, it did what we wanted it to do, but it just kind of sat around and did nothing for a long time. But we'll cover that one too. I'm going to recap yesterday's trades and today's trades here. But this quote today is pretty much self-explanatory. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. And I brought these pictures up because I don't know if you could see the detail here. I tried to make it to where it looked good and you could really get the effect. But, you see these steps down here. These are the steps that I took, that you take through the cave, and you come down through these rocks. And then as you come out, I don't know if you can see, these are the steps right here. These are the steps. You come out and this is what you see. And I'm the type person where I don't like caves. I'm kind of claustrophobic that way, but I grew up watching, the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show. And I don't know how many caves the Roadrunner had cave in on Wile E. Coyote, but I always had this fear of caves and tunnels and stuff closing in on me. And this one was a really scary cave because it had these stalactite formations at the top just hanging down, like at any time they can break off and crush you. And it was a really scary and beautiful cave. I grew to respect the beauty of this, but it was really scary for me. But had I not gone through that cave, I never would have experienced this beautiful lagoon and the time that we spent out there. And this is actually the lagoon where my wife's boss got married. So I would have missed all of that stuff. I wouldn't have been able to be a part of any of it if I would have been too scared to walk through that cave in order to get out to the ocean. But this was like one of the most, if not, well, this is the most beautiful place I've been to. Now, I haven't traveled the world. I'm a simple guy from the South. And, I'll be just as happy at a lake. But this place blew my mind. And, so I never would have seen that beauty. So it's, this is kind of self-explanatory. You can relate it to your trading. If you're scared to take a trade, if you're scared to put yourself out there thinking that you may fail, you're never going to get that treasure. You're never going to get to the end of it. If you go through it, if you take that risk and you come through it and you do the things that you're supposed to do, you can achieve your goals. You will find your dreams there. Today, I kind of made somebody mad, but I have to tell the truth. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you want to hear just to keep you going. I'm going to be honest with you. And I just can't do it. And it just comes from me, teaching high school students for 15 years and having to be honest with them about their performance and what they needed to do in order to, earn their certificate. Because I wasn't signing off on students that couldn't do what they needed to do. And they could get college credit. I just couldn't sign off on it. So, and it's kind of the same way I'm bringing it with me. I mean, you guys that I'm mentoring, you pay me to be honest with you. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This isn't easy, but if you do and you're disciplined and you follow the path that I have for you, you can get the consistency. You'll get there, but you just have to do it. You have to be disciplined to do it, and you have to be willing to listen. Open your mind and listen. That's what I had to do. I had to humble myself in order to get to where I am. So, and everybody's going to have to do that at some point. All right, so let's take a look at trades from yesterday. Yesterday morning, I traded CVS. Of course, it was a loss. This was I was trying the 5-minute, the opening range breakdown. I kind of missed, so I waited for the rejection off of this. So this was more like a continuation off of the 5-minute opening range low. I got in, and it never could break the low of this candle, and it rocketed back up and stopped me out. And this is the kind of price action that we saw all summer long. All summer long. It was just, we're going to fool you. We're going to fool you. So today, I got it. You know, I wasn't going to let it do me like that anymore. But when we get to today's trade, you'll see what I'm talking about. But, you know, this was a stop out. But look, I managed my risk. I didn't sit there and get mad and try to revenge trade and all of that. I let it go, you know, and I moved on. So the next trade we looked at was HMME, and obviously this was going to be a trend continuation. Same move, rejected. It bounced all the way back up to the opening range low, and I was trying to catch a rejection off of it. Now, this isn't an opening range trade. After 10:30, those trades are dead. But the opening range high and low will serve as intraday support, significant intraday support or resistance. And in this case, it was significant intraday resistance. We went up, failed on it, bounced back up. We were looking weak, so I ended up getting in. And I know I shorted it on top of the 20 and the 9. But this thing just looked and felt so weak. And I said, you know, hey, if it got here and got stuck, I'll just take it off. You know, it won't, no harm, no foul. But it actually worked its way through. Ended up getting to the VWAP where I could get my first, the first target here. And then we came down and we just couldn't get to my second target. And so when it started to bounce, I went ahead and took it off. And when we rejected, I got a little pissed. And revenge trade here always ends in failure. So I got short here, ended up getting stopped back out. And then I waited for it to reject. And this time I waited for it to get all the way through the moving averages. I didn't jump on it early. So I got it here and just let it run to the end of the day. So I ended up getting it, you know, some of it back that I lost here. But not bad on it, 190.73. So we pretty much made back what we lost this morning and then some. And then, you know, I was just waiting for the earnings trade. And so we were looking at FIVE. And, you know, to me, this was going to be a long. So we were trading above everything, and I was looking for it to sell off coming into the close. So we had this big candle here to sell, and this one, it was just kind of there. It couldn't break the VWAP of the 9. So this candle opened and it was red. So I was like, well, let me go ahead and buy it because we're getting ready to close and I need to get in. So, you know, I bought it. And then this candle, this was after the market closed. Now this, I know it looks scary. I mean, I know it looks really, really scary. But this only dropped for a matter of seconds. And you're going to see this from time to time. We see this in the morning a lot where the stock is moving, then it just has this huge wick and it dips way down and hits an order down here and then it runs back up. So it's not actually trading through here per se. It was like there was an order down here that somebody wanted to take out, and then it just came back. And by it doing this was even more conviction I had that this thing was going to go up. So you can see it took its own sweet time, just kind of fooling around. And 4:30 came. It was time to start the class. And I know some of you was like, don't worry about the class, start it late. But, I had I was ready. I had everything in place. I had my mind set there. I didn't want this to mess that up. So I ended up just getting out, and starting the class with you guys. But, and you saw that as soon as I got out, this damn thing ran right to 125, which is where I had my target. It ran right to 125. And this morning it was, what did it get to? 127, 128. I can't remember how high it got today. But eventually it got all the way up to 130. Which was incredible. And here I was in at 119 something. And this thing got all the way up to 120. But this is why trading earnings, number one, you got to have small size. You can't go in full size. It's a good thing that if you're in an insured trade, well, really any broker, you got to be at 2 to 1. So you can't really go in full size. So this is going to protect you. And you don't want to use the whole 2 to 1. You want to use just enough size that's going to allow you to manage your trade. So I only got in with 50 shares. This was 100. If it's over $100 stock, I don't care what my account balance is. In the small account, I'm only going to do 50 shares. That's it. Because, that way, if something happens, I could absorb it a lot better. So again, this was just a quick dip, not really a whole lot of trading down there. And it came back and I was able to, I'm still managing it and only got out. So I only picked up $70. This just matter. You might as well say it was a crap trade. But yesterday I only got 81.90, which is just terrible but that's the market that we're in. If you don't catch the right stop, like CVS was a nice opening range breakdown. I wasn't in it. I went to catch the secondary move and it didn't happen. So, if you're in the right place at the right time, you're going to make a little money. If not, you're going to struggle a little bit. So that was yesterday. Ended up with 81.90. At least it was green. I'm not having these $200-300 red days this week. So I'm really happy with that. All right, so today, LU was the first one out of the box. Didn't let it fool me today. I was like, no, we're not doing that today. I knew we were bouncing off of this level. Once we got over the moving averages, and you can see everything was trending up. So once we got over the moving averages, I jumped long here. Got my first cover right here around 169. Where was that? 169.50. And sold some there. Waited till we got, I was trying to get up here, but I just didn't have my guts with me today. So 170.50 is, where I took this other piece off. And I was holding this last piece to see if we were going to get anywhere. I probably should have dumped it up here. But, I felt that at some point, as long as we didn't break this low here, that we had a chance to continue up. But it didn't work out. So I ended up covering the rest around 168. Well, actually, it hit my profit stop or break-even stop. For 25 shares, 20 cents is about break even on this, or 25 cents is about break even. So that was that. Then, later on today, I want to be a jackass here. So I waited and waited and waited, and finally this thing broke. And, I'm like, I'm going to get it now. And then when I get to the school, I'm gonna work it from there. I want to see it go down, take half off before 3:30, and let it continue to work. Because I knew I was going to be sitting for a minute. I just had to go one place about 10 minutes away, and then I'd be sitting. And I wanted to trade this into the close and then jump on the earnings trade. Well, I got all screwed up. This thing, by the time I got to the school, it had just stopped me out. And so I got mad and I got back in with 50 shares. At least I was smart enough to do half size. And still got frustrated because this thing looked like it was trying to bounce. And it was, what time was it? Right before the close. Yeah, 10 minutes before the close. And I'm like, this thing's probably going to run up these last 10 minutes. So I took it off and went to focus on the earnings trade. And damn if this thing didn't sell off going into the close. This was the target I was looking for, the 100 right here. And it hit it once I got out. So, but I was just rushing trying to get to the earnings play. Now, RH, this was our earnings trade. And I said it when I was going over this, what I thought about this, that everything I read, everything from the options trading earlier today, everything pointed to this thing gapping down. And I know it didn't matter what they were doing with the chart during the day. All it matters to me is what they do with it into the close. If it does what I want it to do into the close, then I'm really, that was the last piece that would trigger me to enter. And that's what it did. It triggered me to enter. And just like yesterday, these market makers ran it up. Now, my risk on this trade, RH is a huge mover. So when I took this, and like I told you guys in chat, do not size up on this. Size small. This thing makes huge moves. You don't want to size up because if you're wrong, you don't want it to hurt you too bad. So my dilemma was, should I go in with 25 shares or should I do 50? But I'm like, hell, it's been a hell of a week. I'm going to do 50. I could stand risking 50. $5 to make $10. Here was my final target right here. And I know, don't pass judgment yet. I got to tell you what happened. This was my final target. So I had 123 as one target. And then this was my final target. I only had 2 in here. So after this debacle, once it sold off here and then it bounced and it was just sitting around, I was like, after this, I'm like, I need to change this to 127. And I'll just take half off here and then maybe, take another piece off here at 123.85. And then maybe 119.76. I just kind of amended the plan, which I shouldn't have done. I shouldn't have amended it. But I started losing a little bit of faith in the fact that this was going to work. I mean, this was just a quick, bump up and it didn't stick. I had another $1 to go before it would hit my stop, but it was, well, I didn't have a hard stop in. It's a mental stop. You can't, stop losses don't work after market. So I had a mental stop at 141, which I was risking 5 to make 10. This was my final target here, which was about 10 cents away. I mean, not 10 cents, $10 away. So, a little over $10 away. So, that was my risk reward, 2 to 1. Well, when this thing messed up, I changed it from, 123, just below this level, to up here, 127, which was the low of this candle. And when it came down so hard, it took this out so quick. And I hurried up and just barely got this canceled before it kept going. I mean, and it just kept going. And I hit the hotkey here around 115. And, when we got down here around 108-ish, I hit the key again and we were done. It had already come through here and hit like 106 something. So I kind of hit it on the way back up. But that was it. And I mean, a really, really solid trade. It's just exactly what we wanted. And I didn't go in full size on this because this thing, I couldn't stand I couldn't stand $1,000 loss. I just couldn't. Not in this account. So I wasn't going to go in 100 shares. I had to go in 50. It started going 25. But, that was that. So that was that trade. We ended up today 635.88, the best day of this week. We've just been waiting all week, patiently waiting to try to get to this. Try to get to this day. Patiently waiting. So tomorrow's the end of the week, end of the month, end of the quarter. I'm glad we're going into it strong, but I guarantee you, I will not be taking any unnecessary risk. You can bet your money on that. If it doesn't set up, I will be sitting on my hands. I'll have bricks on my hands. I'll have it handcuffed behind me to my chair. I will not force it, not risk it. I've kind of salvaged the month with this week and last week. So, I just want to keep this thing going. All right, so that's going to do it for me tonight. I will catch you guys tomorrow in chat and see if we can finish this week and this month and this quarter out strong.